Hello everyone, welcome to another EV Ramblings video. My name is Dustin and I'm here at Volvo Cars Victoria in Victoria, British Columbia to do a driving reaction on a 2021 Volvo XC40 Recharge. Now if you don't know what that is, or maybe you're a little bit fuzzy on it, it is a compact SUV that has a full-time all-wheel drive through the use of two 150 kilowatt electric motors. Now that's like having two Chevrolet Bolts in one vehicle, so tons of power. It has a 78 kilowatt hour battery with about 75 of those being usable, and that can be rapid charged at a rate of up to 150 kilowatt through the onboard charger, so you can get tons of speed of charging into that. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it for a drive on the highway, I'm going to drive out to Souk, British Columbia, so that's my typical route, and I'll just give you my impressions on it. So let's go for a drive, shall we? All right, here we are. This is my first time sitting in the driver's seat of the Volvo XC40 Recharge. And someone huge was sitting in this seat. So let me adjust this. Now it's all power adjust. This is my first time checking out this seat. So it's all pretty straightforward. Nice. I have height adjustment, forward and back. Huh, that's cool. Now, interesting thing about this car, actually, here, let me put my phone down here, is that there's no real need for a power button or anything. You just get in and it recognizes that you're in here. So I just have to buckle up and put my foot on the brake and it'll be ready to go. So okay, so let's just talk about the interior here. I'm actually quite surprised how high the doors are. It's definitely roomy and spacious, and tons of room. But it's, I don't know. I expected it. I just didn't expect it to be like this. This actually feels like a small car, although it's not, which I think might be a big bonus to a lot of people. I don't want to dilly-dally here too long. I could talk about this while I'm driving. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to be driving to Souk, BC. And I'm going to be taking the highway and doing a few other things and doing a photo shoot. So we're going to get a lot of time to spend with this car. But okay, so let's try this out. Foot on the brake. And then we're in drive. I got to adjust this. Yeah. So I could see that. Beauty. Wow. So first thing that's kind of blowing my mind a bit is this display. So obviously you have the speedometer to one side, you have your reverse neutral drive on the other, but in the middle I just have a full Google map. Now this car is fully Android or Google Auto enabled, which is quite the bonus. Now I want to put it in reverse. Okay. Now this is the trim of the car I would buy, which has like the 360 and everything. Park brake. I think is it off? Is it on? No, it was off. Okay, let's go. Huh. Oh, cool. I like the lines on there. So just immediately everything is seems super intuitive. Very simple. Okay, now I wonder how long that stays on for. Probably till I go 15 kilometers an hour or something. Let's find out, shall we? Yep. All right, so here we are. So let's talk about what this car's capabilities are. I mentioned it at the beginning a bit, but you have about 340 kilometers of range estimated. This car right now has 90% charge, and it's showing 45.1 kilowatt per 100 kilometer. So that's going to change a bit. Now climate, it's set to manual right now. Let's say, I just want to turn it off. Oh yeah, it's off. Okay, so I want to kind of push this as I normally would. So whenever I'm driving an EV, I always want to try to maximize my energy usage. Going to app screen, I'm guessing. Yeah, there we go. So this car has a 78 kilowatt battery. It has about 75 of those usable. Now this is a very large and frankly heavy car, and it does have two 150 kilowatt electric motors to power it. So that is a lot of energy to drive this car, to move it. So 75 usable, it's probably in the low side of things I would expect for like a modern EV. But you know, on that note, this car does charge at 150 kilowatt, which is very fast. You do need to find a charger that can accept that, right? A lot of, especially in British Columbia, the majority of the chargers are 50 kilowatt. So unless you find like a Petro-Canada, you know, or a Electrify Canada chargers, which charge at a much faster rate, you are going to be restricted to 50. Now on my Chevrolet Bolt, which can charge at a maximum of 50 kilowatt hours, it tapers. So, and with any electric vehicle, their maximum charge is only maximum for a sweet window, a sweet spot. So there's a graph which I found for this car. So this car will charge at 150 kilowatt for the first like 17 to 18% or so. Then it drops down to 120 for a while. And then, you know, eventually near the top part, you know, the 50 to 80%, you're kind of sitting around 75 kilowatt charge rate. Now, if you do charge into a 50 kilowatt charger though, as like the BC Hydro ones here, you do get 50 across the board, which is kind of nice that you're getting it the maximum possible. Whereas like in my Chevrolet Bolt, once I hit above 55%, I'm steadily decreasing. And as I approach like the 70% or 65, I'm down to about 26 kilowatt. So, you know, like there's pros and cons, but this definitely does have a faster onboard charger, so you can get energy in it quicker. Now, in terms of range, because this is what I've watched some reviews about this car, and I've read some reviews, and everyone seems to want to, you know, kind of crap all over how much range this car has. Now, as someone who owned a 2012 Nissan Leaf, you know, who really had a real world usable range of like 120 kilometers on a very good day, and you know, 65, 70 on a very bad day, this still is like a zero concern driving situation. Like, I'm just getting in this car and I'm going to go drive, you know, for quite a while with zero concerns whatsoever. This is not an issue. And I think a lot of people get hung up on maximum number of range as being the be all and end all of the car. And although it can be nice, and you know, there are going to be some people who have a situation where they have to go a really long way on a regular basis, but the vast majority of people don't fit into that. So I feel this car still hits quite a sweet spot for how long you can drive and for its usability. Okay, so I've been driving it a bit here now, just in city driving. I'm gonna have to stop coming up. First thing I'm noticing, obviously, is the drive modes. I just have reverse neutral drive, and I'm obviously used to not pushing the brake pedal in my Chevrolet Bolt because I could switch between drive and L. Now I know this car does have a one pedal driving, so let's see if I can find that. Driving, I click on the gear, one pedal drive, there it is. And oh, you can choose steering wheel firm. Let's turn that off, see what happens. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna drive with the steering wheel firm off, and we'll drive with one pedal driving. There's also an off-road mode, so because this is all-wheel drive, which I do know people who say like they only want to drive an all-wheel drive vehicle. So this is all-wheel drive, and it should have some pretty good capability. Most full electric vehicles have supreme control over how the wheels go, just thanks to the nature of the electric motor itself being able to control it. So, okay, so we're in, I guess, less firm on the steering wheel, and we have one pedal drive. I'm already noticing the one pedal drive. It's meaty, it's beefy. Like, it comes on pretty good. So I'm just modulating right now. This car drives like a, you know, I said when I got in it that it feels like a small vehicle. It drives like a big vehicle. Or it's like, I have this hood, I can see the hood, which is a little unique thing. Now I'm using my one pedal drive right now, so I'm not touching the brake. to full stop. That's very similar to my Chevrolet Bolt. It's almost like zero adjustment whatsoever from the Bolt's L mode to this. I will comment that I'm not entirely happy that it's buried in the menu. Like, it was easy enough to get to, but I feel like there should have been a button or something just to switch it quickly, like either through the gear selector or just, you know, on the steering wheel, like I know some of the Nissan Leafs do. So here, I'm gonna close the sunroof, or the glass roof. I just want to see how that works. That's a little touch panel, just swipe. Yeah, that's nice. Still has just a little bit of light in, but it's darkens it, but I want full light, so let's just have that open. Okay, let's go back to, let's load up maps here. I do have a map here, which is really nice. Okay, we're back. I'm just gonna test the acceleration of this car. Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay, we're gonna do that again in a moment here. Wow. So this car has like 400 horsepower or something, and I said this at the beginning, like 250 kilowatt electric motors, front and back. And this, I'm going to talk about the Chevrolet Bolt a bunch. Like, obviously it's not in this category whatsoever. They're not even anywhere near the same class. This is a much higher class vehicle, but I'm familiar with that. And that car, like, the acceleration makes me laugh. Like, it's fun. This is a level above that. That's friggin' ridiculous. So that's fun. Yeah, I think it's listed at about 4.1 seconds, 0 to 60. Yeah, which I believe, absolutely. Now I'm going to be killing my efficiency if I keep doing that, and that's probably the biggest Achilles heel with an EV. Is just like, you want to, it's fun to accelerate. So I was obviously ready for that now. Yeah, I know I have the windows open. Let's lower those for a minute. Yeah, that's good times. Okay, well, while I'm here, I might as well talk about, it's been a while driving, and I've just, some observations. This thing smooths out the road like you wouldn't believe. Like, I've gone on some pretty rough roads filled with ruts and stuff. Now, although there is some road noise, like, it's actually quite good at hiding that, but it's just, this car is like smooth. Like, this is a very comfortable car. I could see just spending hours in here driving and just being like, yeah, no, this is a really nice place to be. So we got that. Efficiency, I'm showing 21 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometer now. So when we started, like, we were at, I think, 44 or something, because it was just still figuring it out. We're in an ideal condition right now. Actually, and let's talk about, I'm going to be talking about range a few times during this this driving reaction. And Volvo actually is quite forthcoming with how range works on this car. They have like an online manual, and you can go in and you can go into like the whole section on range, and they have this really great graph, which I'm going to put up now. But basically, it says these are the conditions and how they're going to impact your car. So you have one, which is like you're driving around 21 degrees Celsius, you don't have any heat or cooling running. That's going to give you the most range, and it's about 1.5 times efficient, like the efficiency range. So you're going to get more than the advertised efficiency. Then at the very bottom, you have like minus 10 degrees, you're running heat. And that's like going to be like worst case, absolute worst case scenario, where you're in extreme conditions, and you're looking at potentially getting about half the range that's advertised. So like you have these two extremes, and then if you look on the graph, I'm going by memory right now, but all of them kind of, if you drive at like 25, 30 kilometers an hour, you're getting like the most efficient drive possible. Like that's where you're getting like maximum range, and you're gonna get a ton of distance out of this battery. So if you are in like a highly populated area where there's all kinds of like heavy traffic and you're doing lots of stop and go, this thing's gonna go forever. Now it kind of seems like the really sweet spot of driving this car is around the 60 to 70 kilometers an hour. That's what we find on a lot of electric vehicles. And the reason for that is electric vehicles, with the exception of just like a couple, don't have any gears to change to. So on a combustion vehicle, you can change the gear ratio. You either have a standard, right, or you have automatic do it for you, but you have multiple gears, different sizing, to accommodate different types of driving. So as you go faster, the gears change to like a bigger type gear. So electric vehicles can't do that. They can't change that. So they have a set gear ratio, and you deal with it. So higher speeds, based on the graph that are up, use more energy because the motor just has to physically turn faster. All right, been driving on Souk Road a bit. Now this road is notorious for being filled with curves and corners and being a real pain to navigate. And I figured, what better time than to test out the driving assistant. So on the steering wheel on the left here, there's a little button for cruise control. I'm gonna click that. And we're gonna see, whoa, how the car reacts. So I'm just kind of I'm giving it a suggestion, and it's following. Now, it does not like these heavy corners. But here, I'm gonna go, okay. Now it has following. It'll try to follow the vehicle in front of you. Now, I'm supposed to keep a hand on the steering wheel here, and this is just supposed to assist me. So, you can see the corner, and it's turning. Yeah, it's turning in. Turning in again, yeah. Now it has, it can adjust, so it can follow, it has adjustable cruise control, so if it sees the car in front of me slowing down, it will slow down, or, it'll reach the maximum speed that I've set here. So it has that. Now here's a really busy, this is a tight corner. Okay, yeah, no, it's turning. Man, that's, this is, like I said, this is a very complicated road for it to do. It's braking for me. It's seeing the car in front, and it's doing a proper following distance. It's really nice. Adaptive cruise control is pretty awesome. And then having the car basically give you a cue. Now on a highway type road where you don't have corners like this thing would just kill, I would imagine. I think it would do amazing. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm not really giving it. I just let it do itself there, and yeah, it kept me in line. Now, once again, like, you are supposed to keep it, and you're supposed to kind of, especially in these roads, encourage it. But I'm going to turn it off because this isn't the ideal situation for this assistant. I just wanted to put it on like the hardest possible thing you could do, and that's this road. And yeah, I would say actually that did very well. Nice. All right, so we're about halfway through my driving reaction video, and I'm going to do something a little bit different, I think, moving forward with my driving reactions. I am going to talk a little bit about the outside of the car while I'm here. So just so you can see scale, I'm 5'10", so the vehicle is not small by any means. In terms of how it looks like, I think it's a very attractive vehicle. Now, doing the online builder, I personally would choose kind of the lighter blue, I think that really sets it off. But the white, like with the black roof and the black kind of plastic accents, look really good. So I think it's a very attractive car. Now, it does have this huge front trunk. There is some storage under there, but it's minimal. It's fairly small. I don't think I would rely on it at all. The trunk is quite large, though. It does go back quite a way. So here, let me just open it. Hit a button, automatically opens. And I'm going to reach in and touch the back. So, pretty long. Now, in terms of comfort for the rear passengers, you probably won't be able to see, but it is it's quite good. Like, there's tons of leg room. The floor in the back is a little bit high, so like I find myself, you know, my legs aren't necessarily sitting on the seat, but it's close, and it is, like I said, ultra comfortable. There is a ton of space back there. So yeah, I don't know. Like, tell me what you think. Well, the outside of the car is obviously very important, and there's really nothing about this vehicle that screams electric. So we're starting to get into the point where a lot of manufacturers, they no longer think that electric vehicle needs to be kind of like weird or different looking. This just fits right into, you know, the regular Volvo SUV category, with the exception of kind of the smoother front grille. And, you know, there's a little logo back here that says P8 all-wheel drive recharge. That would really be the only indicator this is an electric vehicle. And I do find that I'm, so far since I'm driving this, that I don't have anybody looking at me like, hey, you're driving an electric vehicle. That still is a thing. So especially if you want to be one of those people who wants to just kind of blend in, I think this is probably right up your alley. Yeah, so I'm not going to spend, that's about it. I just don't want to spend too much time. This is the XC40 Recharge, and yeah, I think it is quite a fantastic looking car. Okay, well, let's get back to driving back. But I'm going to start off with the things I don't like. And the list is small. I don't like how the one-pedal drive is buried in the menu. I feel that, like, this is an awesome integrated system. Like, this whole Android Google system it works amazing. I love this display here. Now, the app list on here right now on the main screen is very small, but there is a Play Store, so once you link that up with your account, you can install all kinds of stuff to your heart's desire. So that's great, but I think I would probably just, for the most part, probably leave it on this screen here so I could toggle between one pedal driving. Now, I know when you push the brake pad, it still engages regeneration before it engages the actual pads themselves. But for me, I kind of like being able to go between the modes and change it like it's something to do. So I would say, honestly, that is probably the biggest drawback for me is that right there. And you know what? Like, that's really it. I think that's my only complaint, or the only thing that I don't really like about this car. Everything else is like, it's pretty awesome. Like, all-wheel drive. I've never, personally, I don't think I've ever had a need for it. Like, I've either had rear wheel or front wheel. I guess I did have a 4x4 years and years and years ago, which I've rarely used. But, you know, I can see why people want it, and just having it clearly is bonus. I love the way that this vehicle looks on the outside. I think it looks cool. It's a beautiful vehicle. Now that I'm driving it more, like when I first started this, I was like, oh, the car's kind of like wallowy, or it tips a bit. I see why it does that. It's because the ride is so smooth. It's so nice. Like, it still turns in fantastic. It still handles great. It just absorbs every bump. So compared to where I'm coming from in the Bolt, where you're getting like tossed, you know, this is like a world different. This is just fantastic. The interior, like, it is high. It's tall. So I'm gonna call the inside like this in the front tank-like. And even though I do have a lot of space around me, it's not as open as some vehicles. So you're gonna have to decide whether that's good for you or not. I'm fine with either. Whether it's really open or whether like I'm enclosed in this tiny capsule, totally works for me. It's fine. I love the way that it drives though too. Like the power is just, it's there. It's you know, you just put the accelerator out and it goes. It feels great. So fast, so responsive. I like the rear, I like the cameras around, like the 360, ultra high definition, super sharp. You can see every detail, fantastic. I love that it's towing capable. The storage space is really good. It has the front trunk, which I personally don't care. The front is really long on this car, but that kind of adds to its good looks, I think. So yeah, I would say that I would buy this car, absolutely. Totally. Like, this is in my, every year I do kind of a top 5 EVs to recommend, and this is in there for sure. Okay, so we're on the highway. And now that I'm just talking, let's just go into the adaptive cruise control. So I'm gonna stick it here, and I'm just gonna lightly apply pressure. I'm not turning, the car's turning on its own. Coming up to a corner. Once again, I'm not turning, I'm just holding onto the steering wheel. The car's adjusting. It's handling this curve perfect. Straightening out. Awesome. And I have it set to a cruise control speed. So we'll see, now we're coming up to another corner. Oh, that works really well. Driver aids like this, you know, where you can, it helps you, right? Like there's no way I should have my hand off the steering wheel and just let it do its thing. I shouldn't do that. But for the people who maybe aren't as confident drivers, or like are getting elder and responses maybe aren't as quick as they used to, like this is just game changing for them, right? Like it's just that added safety that could maybe keep them on the road longer and keep them safer. And this one seems to work really well. Now I'm approaching an RV here, and we're gonna see about the adaptive speed here. So yeah, so it's seeing the corner, it's turning. Yeah, it needed to turn a little bit harder there. Oh, it lost it on that big corner. So that was quite a big corner, but it has adjusted to the RV in front of us, which is great. Okay, so I'm just gonna let it do its thing. Let's just follow this RV at its slow pace. So that's kind of another bigger corner. Handled that really well. And now we're getting into a merge, and you know, it's keeping bias to the right. So we're in a weird spot on the highway here where they don't have any of markings. Now it thought that there was a clear lane, so it sped up a bit. I had to put on the brake there, and now I've disengaged the driver aids. So it's not like full autonomous driving or anything, but it's really good. Like, just to give you that extra assistance, I think is fantastic, and that's what I would want in my next vehicle. Okay, so almost back to returning the vehicle, and obviously, you know, I think this is an excellent car. So what are the competitors? Clearly, Tesla is always a competitor, and in many people's minds, Tesla is like the one and only option. But if you've been watching my channel at all, you'll know that I feel that this isn't a one-car solution or one company solution, and that, you know, there's lots of compelling and really great offerings from other manufacturers. So I've given them attention, and I let other people give Tesla attention. So I'm not going to talk about their cars. So obviously the Ford Mach-E is a competitor to this. I'm hoping to get into one pretty soon to see. But the Mach-E has a much bigger battery, it has a lot of different configurations, and it should be about similar size. Another option, which is coming out soon to Canada, is the Volkswagen ID4. So the ID4, once again, really large battery, should be kind of similar size to this and the Mach-E, and available on all-wheel drive. So lots of similarities there. Now I have to test drive the other ones first before I can really say, you know, one is better than the other. But I would say that if you are used to larger vehicles and you want that comfortable ride, that this is a fantastic option. And especially if you are like a Volvo customer, you appreciate what that brand brings, then it's kind of a no-brainer, I think. Like, this is a great option. Yeah, no, if you are in the market for an EV, or even if you're not looking for an EV right now, but you're looking for like this size of a vehicle, like kind of the compact SUV that's super capable, you need to test drive this. So I want to just give a huge shout out to Volvo Cars Victoria. This is my kickoff of coming back to making YouTube videos again. It's been a while. I've added a couple during the pandemic, but I just didn't really, I was so busy with work and other things that I just couldn't really focus on it. But now things are kind of getting back to normal, hopefully, and I can focus on this a bit more. So I reached out to all the manufacturers, and surprise, surprise, none of them really wanted to deal with me because I'm not a big deal or anything. So I reached out to the dealers, and right away, like Volvo Cars Victoria were like, yeah, let's talk, and they were super supportive, and so huge kudos, shout out to them. And picking it up this morning, like they got there early, just so I could have more time with the car. You can tell that they care, and I haven't felt pressured from them at all to like, I guess, no sales. I've gone to some dealerships where they suddenly tried to do a sales with me, and I haven't gotten that vibe from them at all. So definitely check them out. Thank you so much, Volvo Victoria. And yeah, if you can, if you're there and you're test driving it and you saw this video, let them know. I would really appreciate that, just so that they know there's some positive outcome. So yeah, with that, I think I'm going to close it. I'm almost at the dealership. And thanks for watching. Look for some great new content and new EVs, and also me towing my Sylvan Sport Go utility tent trailer. I'm going to be doing efficiency tests and driving reactions with towing and stuff. So look for that. And yeah, ride safe and give EVs a chance. See ya.